for the lower seed team, the more they win, right? Yeah. It is one of those things. Solo came in saying, we don't have to think about it at all. It's all the pressure's on them. But if you win one game, you start thinking about, hey, we could maybe win the series.
We can do it.
You win 2 games, you say, oh my God,
totally do
we
this.
can absolutely we could go to Worlds. We got to finish this one out. And then you start really kind of changing the pressure a little bit.
All right, so we're into bans. It's Kalista, Vi, Ahri, banned out by EG. Zeri, Sylas, Azir, banned out by TSM. The critical difference here is that we have 2 out of 3 of the marksmen banned from the previous game, but Sivir made it through. Evil Geniuses opts to go for the Seraphine first pick, have some of that death ball team fighting, but it does give over both Sivir and Wukong back to TSM.
This is a really interesting adaptation from game 1. The Ahri was setting up the first pick of Azir, I'm pretty sure, and then that gets taken out as well. That gives them the Seraphine, which was also banned away in game 1. So that is one of the picks that EG has used very well with their compositions here. And now they're loading it up with melee topside, which is often what they want to do so they can bounce the Seraphine through it.
Yeah, I know. I was watching your blame game on EG's last series, and you were really high on how well Danny actually played on the Seraphine. In that game, you were giving him a lot of credit. That was the only game that actually won in the series, and you were very complimentary of his play and the difference that he was able to make on that. But, you know, you are giving over some really big picks to TSM, Wukong, Yuumi, Sivir. You know, that is kind of the dream first 3 for a lot of teams. So it is going to be scary.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that were taken away were banned the previous time. Sivir getting through was one of EG bans last time around. And like you said, comboing that with the Yuumi now, it's enabling more late game for TSM. I like the respect Ornn ban from EG here to make sure that they can't just go the exact same top side of the map.
Right, leaving open these high tier OPs in terms of the Wukong, the Sivir, the Yuumi. It does give your opponents sort of less freedom to pick something strictly outside of the tier list. So Ornn gets knocked back far enough that they can ban him away.
And Sejuani was taken away. Ornn is banned out. Those are the 2 main tanks that he would go to. And then Nara is his most played, right? So they are really saying, what else you got? Because if you look at all his champions that he's played since he's been back, Renekton, Sejuani, those are gone. Ornn gone, Gnar gone, 1 game of Fiora, and that game did not go well. No. Sion, I do think fits if you want to just grab another meatball up there.
Yep.
But they are really trying to attack him, and to me, that also kind of gives you an indication that Inspired is going to be making visits up the top lane. Because if you're spending this many bans, you've got to get up there and I think create more of a real advantage than they were able to last time.
I think it's also where they're going to go around mid lane, because Azir is the best control mage. He's the highest presence champion on the patch right now. He is head and shoulders above others in that kind of category, because then instantly you start going to other things in the mid lane that are kind of different. So the fact that Ahri was gotten rid of as well makes me question where they're going to go for Maple, because he was a huge force in that last game.
Right. Ahri was banned out by Evil Geniuses who played it last time. TSM spent 2 out of their first 3 bans on mid laners, and they also banned out Yone in the second half, who can be flexed between 2 solo lanes. So TSM leaving this 5th pick of the draft on red side. This could it be?
It is.
It is.
Mid lane Renekton.
It's
oh
Jojo Lizard.
They are actually going all in, like in this kind of full melee style comp. You know, it's four melee champions plus Danny on the Seraphine, right? Danny very likely going to be playing farming Seraphine here, but this should be jungle Sejuani. It should be Renekton mid, Aatrox top. You're setting up for, you know, really a lot of pressure up on that top side. Sejuani has good melee pairings with both the solo lanes. You get Aatrox into that matchup with Solo, so a better matchup in the 1v1 than the Renekton. But I love the Swain as the answer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have got to run straight forward at him. That's all EG's comps does. And now you're trying to do that through Swain Yuumi? Like, yikes, that's so hard.
I don't know, man. It's 2 meatballs bumping into each other here. It's so many low-range melee champions.
Pasta, Mark?
Yeah, it's a spicy pasta. I don't know, I shouldn't do that. That's terrible. Absolutely horrendous. Anyways, the point is, though, like, yes, the Swain is this kind of champion that you don't want to have to dive through normally, but the enemy team is also extremely tanky, also has a lot of utility built into it with the Seraphine and the easy setup of the Sejuani passive stacks that the Swain might be focused down.
So here's the difference to me. Is that if you're trying to...
G didn't buy no insurance. They didn't even sign the papers to rent the car. They're just driving that sucker 90 miles an hour straight down mid lane.
And I mean, Seraphine does scale really well, so they have that, but it's definitely, I think, much more difficult to play out what EG has than it is to actually play out what TSM has. And I'm loving the banter back and forth in chat here. you know, giving some trash talk there, you know, talking about, oh, you need the Ignite Crutch there for Jojopyun. You know, he's playing around the Renekton mid, so it's always fun seeing them kind of joke back and forth.
Yes, Spica says, Spica's daring him to build Bork and Prowler's Claw, and Jojo says, you're gonna get one shot. So I love to see that, but TSM, they know they're the underdogs here, but they can scrap with the best of them.
I mean, it's really underdog. I mean, obviously, I'm coming in like mid-split, and we made some improvements, but still kind of like outside looking in, so to me, it's just like we're biting at ankles right now. We're just trying to see who we can take down. I think a lot of teams are kind of looking at us as a weaker squad, but I think that, you know, just the longer we play in and the more momentum we get, we can like take down anybody right now. So
Biting some ankles.
He's still an underdog. That's the mentality Solo has. You're up in the series, so unfortunately not the case right now. EG underdogs.
Oh,
gonna need to
like
claw
that?
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot to sway you, does it, Mark?
Oh, I'm very reactionary.
Like, well, they did win the last game there, Flowers.
Statistically, they're
Them as the
undefeated in the
heavy
series.
favorite. They've won 100% of the last match.
This is Raz levels of
We can
flip-flopping.
debate that.
This is Raz levels of flip-flopping. Okay, so we'll see what impact can get done here on the Aatrox up against the Sion. It's another one of those big meatball, just hit the wall over and over again matchups. Fortunately, he won't be able to give items to the rest of his team. Unfortunately, we know that Sion can earn quadruple-digit health values from his W.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that is definitely a difficult part about it. And the other thing that's really difficult with Sion is that his ultimate is like a pseudo TP, right? So with most champions, you have to push them back once, then they TP, you push them back again, and that's where they get punished. With Sion, it's an additional time that you have to do. And that ult can often buy you time to get kind of that cheap base and maybe get to your TP coming back up.
The other thing, too, for the side of EG is they're, again, the team with better early game comp, I would argue, both the Aatrox in the side lane being something you can play around a little bit more, as well as Renekton in the mid lane. Obviously, Swain is not a terrible champion pre-6, but there is obviously...
Debatable.
It's debatable. He doesn't feel great. Yeah, okay, there you go. He's a terrible champion pre-6 per Azael, so the pressure is, once again, kind of on EG, probably to make some of these team fights, or excuse me, ganks come through.
Yeah. I mean, you can poke and prod, but if you're in like an all-in scrap at the Dragon or at the Herald and you don't have ultimate, you are barely
You press your buttons and you kind of hang around.
Yeah, that champion is awful, but with ulti, you're extremely powerful. And the laning power is actually not that bad because you can whittle them down over time.
That's more what I meant when I said you're not a terrible champion pre-6, as you do have some laning. But yeah, definitely don't want to be fighting all in very frequently.
And he's actually already gotten quite a few of those souls. Every single time you do hit a W or an E, already has 2 in there. So it's 12 flat HP every single time, which is going to be really, really nice.
And for context, remember that when you buy a Ruby Crystal, that is 150 HP for the $400 price. So y'all at home can do the math on that. I'm sure Freak has a spreadsheet somewhere. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
This is like Kobe's nightmare, this enemy team, because it's double permanently infinite scaling health stacking champions between the Swain and the Sion solo lane. So you always hear Kobe raging about when someone gets hit by a Sion, or excuse me, a Swain W.
But just think of the LDR value.
Exactly.
True.
They're scaling for you.
Yeah. That Seraphine, when she builds LDR, she's going to be pumping through
The
those
Bork
things.
Renekton. He's going to love it.
Yeah, Bork Renekton with LDR. That's the
build.
boys. Well, anyway, Inspired is hanging around this mid lane. We saw it during the 3-lane look. He was seeing if there was an opportunity for anything here. He's hanging around again. If Maple steps up, they're going to try something, but Maple's just not giving him the opening. Vulcan runs in for the headbutt pull. Follow up there from ADC Seraphine, but honestly, Tactical's feeling fine.
I mean, so the problem normally when you play Sivir into Alistar is that, you can spell shield that headbutt, you get pulverized after, and then you get slammed by the enemy AD carry, but you can see that Seraphine's damage is just not that significant in the early game and very easy to be sustained through by the side of TSM there. Chime just popping some zoomies, and obviously there's no real all-in threat unless you're able to do that like 4 or 5 times in a row.
Yeah, exactly. It's more about taxing the mana, but they're obviously not going to be Ignite. They're not expecting to get any sort of a kill. It's just about pushing it in, getting the early reset, which they have done. And note that it is Danny playing TP this time. He wasn't playing that on Ezreal. So he's actually TPing back immediately because he wants to try to potentially lock them under the tower, or if Tactical does go back here, he's hoping to deny a wave because this is not a cannon wave that he just recalled on. So very likely will be a full wave denied here to Tactical. So that is the edge that this TP has bought.
The other thing, too, for the side of Danny is that he is the lone magic damage threat on this side. So you're talking about these kind of big team comps with just going to smash into each other. It does have a small itemization advantage for the side of TSM should they get a little bit ahead. Obviously, there's only one real AP threat on the side of TSM as well with Swain, but you know, at least Yuumi can kind of shoot that in there, get a little bit of damage out, so it does feel a little bit easier to itemize for a Sion to just slam a ton of armor down.
Right, you're looking at both the tanks, you're looking at Sejuani and looking at Sion, and you're just expecting health and armor, right? Because you should be able to endure a lot of the magic damage just by your natural MR, as well as having a huge health pool, which especially for Sion, who we've already talked about his stacking nature, he shouldn't really be too worried about Seraphine bursting him down or making significant dents in his health.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Sion this game, you're getting the MR from your Mythic and like maybe MarkZ or something because there's a fair bit of CC. But beyond that, you're probably not going to be building really much of any MR. So I do think it's going to be pretty easy for him to itemize. You know, Zonia is obviously going to be incredibly high value here for Maple as well, both for the armor but also the active. You know, to just really throw yourself in that mix and make sure you're on top of everyone.
Got the Lost Chapter already in the inventory, so it should just be that Leandri's build. Doesn't look like we're going to get any sort of Imperial Mandate type of shenanigans.
Nope, makes sense that he wants to optimize his own damage a little bit here, given we were just talking about being kind of the lone AP threat on his team. EG during that time also grabbed the Dragon up with some of that bot pressure that they were having, that TP kind of cheating them back down there earlier, so that when the tempo follow-up from TSM comes in, they're actually behind. There you go, quick Dragon, and kind of starting the same game plan as game one, about being up ahead, wanting to start getting neutral objectives and forcing TSM to contest you.
Even a little earlier, too. 7 minutes instead of 8 there for that first Drake, as Inspired may look for an angle.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably just going to finish recall, head down to bot. It is Blade of the Rune King rush here for Jojo. The kind of flavor of the month build meta, or whatever you want to call it right now, is Vulcan as tank mythic, and that seems to be what most of people are going on Renekton these days. Will be interesting to see if he pivots from that at all.
But the all chat for Prowler's Claw.
Yeah, I mean, you can go for it. It does afford you a lot of damage, but you are also going down in a hurry if you mess up whatsoever.
Yeah, you turn into a lizard pinata. Like, he just, as soon as he goes in, he better one-shot the other guy, because he's also getting one-shot.
Yeah.
Especially into a comp like this, with a Wukong ulti, a Swain ulti, a Sivir firing at you, and exhaust. Yeah, it feels highly unlikely.
It feels awesome. You should do it. There is the side lane threat as well. You can talk about probably being in EG's favor again, having 1-3-1 options if they get ahead. That was kind of the problem the last time around, is anytime a 1-3-1 comp falls behind, you're just doomed to sit underneath your turrets because you can't actually hold mid lane. You need to collapse and protect that. Aatrox did get a lot of kills, but so many just ambient gold went into Solo's pocket that he was never actually behind.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll have push in side lane. I find it hard to picture a world where they actually have much side lane threat as far as like towers and objectives and stuff, because I just don't really see Solo falling that far behind. And you would have to really stay home an advantage. It's largely not one you can create in the 1v1. It's going to be more about can they find the dives. Vulcan going to be forced out.
Yeah, Vulcan had to flash away. Jojo puts some damage back into Spica, who now has no mana, no ulti. A little bit more coming out there from the Yuumi, but the whole point of this scrap, the whole point of Vulcan being here was the fact that EG wanted to make sure that Inspired could get that Herald safely. Remember, this was another one of the big errors of EG in the previous game. They got 0 value out of their early Herald. No plates, didn't even get a charge out of it. Because it died, they had to summon it up in their own jungle. So I think that's a pretty easy one for EG to identify as, yeah, we screwed that up. We need to get better use out of that in game 2.
Definitely, and they're already off to a better laning start as well. The Ornn not doing quite as well as, Sion not doing quite as well as Ornn, excuse me. Again, impact behind the turret, getting a big CS lead, grabbing turret plates as well. Already a 1.5k gold advantage just off of laning.
And I actually really love that he's proxying the wave. They saw Spica on mid, and then he went down towards bot side. He's warded on Raptors. There's no chance of getting ganked. And by actually proxying the wave, you either force Sion to walk forward and tank ambient damage from the minions, or, which is what happened here, the wave actually gets to the tower, and then you can start to get chip damage on that tower, work away for plates where you can really create an edge for yourself. So EG definitely doing a really good job here in those early stages. We'll have to continue to really push that pace. And I'm curious to see when TSM will kind of mark that line in the sand and try to start contesting for objectives. Because it was at the 3rd dragon in the last game. And after that, you know, EG really wasn't able to find a way into those dragons anymore.
Well, remember, it wasn't even just the 3rd, but the 2nd one was the one where they had that, oh, we're going to hang around and make it so you can't back up. And then they got the fight afterwards. Yeah, they lost the objective. They didn't contest the objective, honestly, but they found a really good window to still interfere with what EG was doing and stop that snowballing a little bit. So hopefully we get a little bit of action here, because it's been 10 minutes with no first blood. Where's my Nexus Blitz fire circle? That's what I've always wanted. I just want, if you go 10 minutes without a first blood in a game, the Nexus Blitz Fire Circle comes in.
The Ring of Fire
and
is
changes
closing.
that.
What do you center it around? The middle of the map, so solo laners, side laners just get screwed over? Does every lane get its own little
It's
circle?
random where it goes, but it has to be within a certain range of the river. So it can't
I
be
love
far on
RNG.
one side.
Great idea, Captain
Yep.
Flowers.
Well, hey, guess what? You can avoid it.
It's on my enemy red buff. Fantastic.
You can avoid it by playing PvP in the first 10 minutes of this PvP game, Mark.
I'm glad you're not a designer.
You don't want to play League of Skarners?
No, I don't want to play Captain Flowers League of Legends.
He's like, so I have an idea. Skarner Spires, there's one, and it covers the whole map. And it's in my base.
I can only lock in Skarner. If your
And it
name
also
on the
gets
NA
vision.
server is not Captain Flowers, it doesn't show up in your client. Only I can play him.
If you ban Skarner, you lose 3 LP and your client crashes. Even in normal.
That seems fair.
Okay, Maple throws out an E there. Won't be able to go fishing for Jojo. Spica has the Yuumi attached. Can make Wukong very, very scary. Like, it's already a big problem when he jumps in, but...
TSM are starting it. They want to stop this stack immediately, but Jojo has mid push. They're dropping the Herald now, so the Herald will drop pressure towards mid. I don't think TSM will stay on this, because if you lose full tower mid for free, that is kind of rough. So they are going to have to walk this way around, and that is why Vulcan and Impact are trying to say, hey, we can engage, and trying to kind of zone them off it, so Jojo can farm these plates.
Alrighty, EG. What can you find? Forcing a flash over the wall from Maple, as now Spica has the Yuumi attached, but he's got to try to find a way out. They're turning it back around. They want to look for the Seraphine, but the stun on Solo stops him from getting the lockdown. Tactical makes his way up into the fight, and now EG's got to be careful. It's a full 5-on-5. Danny's going to be taking low first blood back over to Spica, but TSM loses Maple in the process. Solo and Tactical, they try to get away as the remaining 4 evil geniuses exit out the blue side ramp.
EG kind of just fully abandoned Danny there. You know, Danny had to flash away, and then they just all walked away from him. He still had his ult available, but no one really peeling for him. They do win on the other side, though, so they will be rewarded with a dragon, but very weird fight.
The entire fight was weird. Obviously, Tactical was super late to it as well. I think he was pushing out bot lane before moving up. TSM started the dragon, but then realized they had to get back mid. The funny thing was, it baited EG into trying to stop them, so they didn't actually finish off that mid turret. Jojo could have just stayed here and they could have played zoning duty, but instead they say, hey, they're in such an awkward position, let's just go fight. So you see Tactical had finished off pushing the bot wave. It's 4v5 during this time period, but like you said, they're trying so hard to get onto Spica. It leaves Danny in this awkward spot where Solo had a really nice engage there onto kind of the backside of EG, and then Danny is just stuck between 2 different huge front lines.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see that ulti connects from Solo, and then he has his Q placed in a way where Danny can basically only flash down to Tactical or up into the rest of the team. EG is fighting off towards that right side of that scrap, and it does leave him alone. Solo should be able to walk this one out, but EG still definitely coming out on top.
That is a way better, what's the word I'm looking for here? Conclusion to the second Drake sequence of events for Evil Geniuses than game number 1 was. Because remember, after the second Drake went down, Evil Geniuses had both of them in game number 1, but TSM was on a 3,000 gold lead. Let's see if Tactical can get away from this one. Chime hops off, hops on. I don't think he's gonna go a whole lot of anywhere now, is he? W2 finds him, and now Chime is trying to run away, but the Yuumi loot pinata sprays gold everywhere.
EG finding a big pick there. Tactical not able to actually spell shield the chains there from the Aatrox and not able to get away as a result.
Much better playmaking for EG here. No vision for TSM really, as once again, Spica just gonna face check.
Face checks into the Renekton, who swiftly trades onto... Spica, you went over the wall there, buddy. That's not the wall you wanted to go over.
Last game, after they won that dragon fight, we were talking about how great the vision control was for TSM. This time around, not having that injection of gold, giving them an opportunity to keep eyes on. After they reset from that crazy dragon fight, they didn't get any real wards out. It instantly Solo almost dies on the top side. Then you actually have Tactical and Chime dying in the bot side. And then here, trying to go make a play on the flip side of the map, there's still Vulcan hanging around up on that top side. So when Spica hops the wall, he's in trouble.
And look at that gold lead up in top side. This is actually becoming a problem. Nearly 2,000 in the advantage there. And Inspired did something I don't know that I've ever seen. He actually rushed first item Anathemas. Because Tactical is basically the consistent damage from this team. Like, he is the real threat. So it's going to be Tactical getting actually chained up by the Anathemas. Reduce the tenacity. And they do have a tremendous amount of CC on EG's side. Seraphine Root, Seraphine Charm, the combo from the Alistar, the stun from the Alistar, the point-and-click stun from the Renekton, everything from all of these people is going to make it very difficult. Like, yes, Tactical is playing Cleanse, and he is going to have that spell shield, but EG's plan, to me, is very clearly, Anathema Chains Tactical, everyone stack on top up top of him, and just dump so much CC on him that there's no possible way he can stay safe.
Exactly. Renekton piles on, Aatrox piles on, Sejuani piles on. Being able to stack that Sejuani passive almost instantly as well, because remember, Renekton's W counts as multiple attacks. There's a lot of ways to layer through this. A single cleanse, I don't think is going to be enough as the game goes on. I hope to see Chime get a Mikhail's, something similar to, again, highlight the ability to escape those things. FTX total gold on the left side of your screen, that's a lot of blue, the whole top half of it.
And this is that 1-3-1 that I was saying could go in EG's favor should they get enough ahead. Obviously, they're shutting down Maple in exchange for kind of the Aatrox, but it's much harder for TSM to force a play on the Sion side than what EG can do up here. So they grab this turret in tier 1. They're going to potentially grab the tier 2. Maple's trying to ult just to save it.
Yeah, Jojo may have stuck around a little bit too long here. Uses the Dominus to get away. He gets past the maximum range of the Swain E, but now Spica's coming in trying to help. Jojo wants to turn it around. He heals up, but he won't heal up enough. TSM get 2.
Getting a little greedy there, EG, trying to have the turret finish off. They do actually grab it, but on the tail end, TSM grabbed 2 kills back in their own. Gold lead staying about the same, though.
Yep, keeping there about even. Tier 2 obviously worth quite a bit of gold, but TSM going to be very happy to get that. The untold story, though, Danny was pushing mid, and when everyone goes up towards top side, Danny gets the tier 1. So at the end of the day, even though it is 2 kills, I think EG's okay with it. You take a tier 2 top, you take a tier 1 mid, that's all gold into the pockets there of Danny. And that is going to be tough. And, you know, to kind of circle back to the Sivir question, I think, honestly, it's going to be more about, you know, the rest of the TSM members becoming threatening enough that even if they all pile on tactical and kill him, you're going to have to give up too much to really make it worth it, right? That the Swain is strong enough and maybe gets into a second item, Rylai's, which I would really like, to be able to slow down all this melee, and that Spica's in there disrupting them, and that you really make them pay for any kill they get on your marksman.
Would you like second item Rylai's more or less than second item Zhonya's?
I think you go second item Rylai's and you sit on stopwatch, and then you
Okay.
go third item Zhonya's. I just think Rylai's on Swain against 4 melee is like unparalleled value. It's so good. It is really, really annoying to try to fight through Swain. And it also gives you the added bonus of making it incredibly easy to keep that perma ulti up.
Alrighty, EG, control over the bot side river here. This will be soul point if they can pick it up. TSM, for that very reason, wants to make sure that they can't. But here's one big difference between this game and game number 1 already. It's EG who are in the river first.
EG in the river first, also not a huge range advantage for TSM's comp this time around. Yes, they have the Yuumi poke and you have the Sivir boomerangs, but it's not enough to brute force through 4 melee of EG.
There we go! The engage from Vulcan, the follow-up from Danny, and the damage just pours in, but it's not enough! Danny's gonna be killed first, as Evil Geniuses find one back onto Spica, and we've got a 4v4. Tactical and Maple, still both around. EG's got bad health bars. Maple's not gonna find the E, and now Impact's ready to fight back. Jojo over the wall, the stun, he's done! Inspired with a killing spree, as Solo's now looking to force it forward, and Tactical finds the kill into Vulcan with a double back onto Inspired. TSM! TSM! TSM!
Even with that engage, I think there was a 4-man ulti there from Danny. The engage was so big, but you're getting punished by these really beefy characters. The Swain gets his stopwatch off, already had the ulti active, and Maple was just roasting them in that fight.
Huge fact that they killed Danny at the beginning. That is one of the best things for EG's comp in sustained fights is the Seraphine shield and healing. The fact that TSM were able to kill him
Round
at the
2,
start
baby.
was critical.
All right, ding, 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 let's
Ring
go.
of Fire is closing flowers, and it's that dragon.
Here it is. Let's see how this one's gonna play out, because TSM are now the ones who have men in the Dragon Pit first. EG grouped up, ready to come challenge. Inspired's not here. The jungler still has to make his way over. Luckily, the dragons take forever to kill now. The buffs to their durability made these fights a lot more interesting. Inspired coming around from the flank. EG's still here. Inspired takes the Hex Gate over the wall.
Here comes
Now he's ready to make his way in, but Solo, choo-choo, he's ready for an entrance, and EG's ready to try to fight back. Spica there on the front line, he's gonna be stunned up, but it's only a clone. They're still looking to get themselves out, but now the death ball comes through. The shutdown, Impact puts a sword in Tactical's heart, and Maple will die next to him. TSM lose 2, and the Evil Geniuses hatch a plan.
And this time, they cannot kill off Danny, and that makes all the difference there. With him still alive, EG, do they go to Baron? They're all rushing straight towards mid. They're at least going to push this out. With Maple and Tactical dead, they're, I think, just going to start it up. They're running straight for it, but no, it's just going to be a fake. They will recall and look to reset here. A lot of gold in pocket, but EG at the end of the day, Soul Point now, 20 minutes in, they are looking really, really good. And Solo not being able to connect on Danny meant so much in this fight.
So this is the first engage here. We're going to find Danny, going to get jumped on. I think it's Solo who lands an ultimate through the team here. Everyone else is running forward. He just targets out Danny and says, I'm going to one-shot you. Basically, by himself is going to find that kill. Nice adaptation by Spica to find that angle as well. They kill him, and now with it's Spica dead for the Seraphine, obviously a great trade for them. There's just not enough damage to punch through Maple. Unfortunately, the ultimate does run out, and Jojo has a nice turn to get on top of him with Vulcan and finish him off, but that means Tactical has not been focused down this fight.
Yep, and EG did do a really good job of actually kiting out there, making that Swain ult expire. That's what you have to do before the re-engage, but Solo was so big in that fight. You know, the perfectly timed ulti there to immune. This time around, though, Danny able to get the side step at the very end there, just barely sneaks around. Otherwise, he would have been in major trouble.
The other thing was there was no Yuumi ultimate up yet, so when Tactical drops his spell shield on the Seraphine ult, wants to step forward, don't have time for it, another fight? No, we got baited.
No, not quite.
All right, so the thing was the Yuumi ult was not up. Tactical actually got PD off that fight and came back, and I was like, oh, this looks like great fight for TSM, but the fact that they did not have that last layer of peeling allowed Jojo to get on top and kind of one-shot Tactical, and so these fights come down so much to which between Danny and Tactical are going to die first, most likely.
Absolutely, and I mean, they're going to be tracking these cooldowns, right? You know, Spell Shield, 24-second cooldown, rank 1. You're not building any CDR or anything, so it's pretty long. It's not like he shouldn't have used his Spell Shield on the Seraphine ult. You have to. It was a great Spell Shield. But it does mean that there is that 20-second window where they are going to be hunting now. They're going to be looking for the re-engage, trying to just absolutely dogpile you here with this composition.
By the way, you were right about the Renekton build. Blade of the Ruined King straight into the Sunfire Aegis, so the Renekton's going to be able to dive in there and be on that front line. Oh, come on, Mark.
No Prowler's Claw?
Sunfire is the chattest of the tank items, though, because it's the damage one.
True. Also, I really like Inspired's build. I'm such a big lover of Warmogs on tank junglers. I just think it's so underrated. It is incredibly, incredibly strong. So he goes Anathema's Rush into the Warmog second here, and this allows you to kind of just hold your Q and play out fights in a slightly different way, where you walk forward, you poke with your W, you look for the ultis, and then as you get low, you can actually Q back out of the fight and look to Warmog's regen. And it's going to allow them to also restart objectives over and over. Like if he wants to tank up the Baron, he can back it up and Warmog's up again. So I think it's a really intelligent build in this game. For the kind of gameplay that they're going to be playing, because when Swain pops his ult, you've got to disengage a reset anyway, and if Warmogs kicks in, that can win you the second half of the fight.
Alrighty, 4,500 gold, 23 minutes into the game, 2 minutes until Hex Soul for EG. What is the recipe for TSM? How do you get yourself in a situation where you can answer this?
I mean, to be honest, the way the last two fights went, it was not really like the battle lines broke out in a significant way. They kind of just bumped into each other, and it's about trying to find your way onto Danny. I don't know if that ultimate hit by Solo in the second version, maybe they again win that fight, because he has enough damage to drop Danny down to half health. He just needs a little bit of follow-up from Spica, or maybe from Maple or something like that.
To me, it's actually about what happens before the fight. The biggest difference is that they're not able to actually get priority in this bot side river, right? Every single time, you know, before the dragon fights last game, I would do this, we'd look at the bot side jungles, and it would just be filled with TSM wards. There's not a single one down there in this time. And it's because the mid prio is there, but they find this pick.
Solo's coming in for Danny, hits a max range ulti for a max duration stun, but Danny's still able to reposition, and EG rally around their carry, as now Solo finds himself too far forward. He's got to flash away. TSM, no angle.
Really well played by Vulcan. They're getting 2 interrupts on Sion Qs to make sure he could not actually charge those and get the follow-up CC. You saw how long Danny was stunned when you actually take that Sion ult to the head. And then normally the follow-up is the Sion Q, but Vulcan interrupted that, then got the second one with a pulverize, so made sure there was no way to lock Danny down.
A couple big things, though, come out from that. Impact actually TP responded, and he was threatening the flank by himself, so that's kind of what pushed TSM back. But this means now there's no TPs available because Jojo isn't playing it. Danny's and Impacts are down. So TSM does have TP advantage if they want to try to play through a side. But also Solo is missing his flash, and now Spica could be in some trouble.
Spica loses a little bit of HP. Vulcan coming in looking to make him lose even more. Spica re-engaging. He has the Yuumi looking to help him. Maple with the zone of control here with the ult. Standing next to Tactical, wanting to keep EG away. Danny's going to be killed. Maple takes the credit. Jojo finally made his way into the fight, but is it too late? He flash stuns a clone, and EG continues running away. Solo and Maple continue pushing forward. Impact is separated. Jojo goes back in. He wants Tactical, but he won't get him.
not able to take him down. Huge for TSM. And it was really Maple there catching Danny with the never move. Grabs him with the claw, pulls him back in. Inspired the Warmogging back up to full here. Will potentially try to look for a steal, but Solo's going to come on the zone. This play very unlikely to work now. Would be a one-way trip.
Might be worth it.
But he has no vision. So
No,
it's just a total guess.
Yeah, I agree with not going in for that.
Yeah,
You give up a potential Baron afterwards.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit of an int. That's a bit of an int. I'm glad he didn't go for it. But honestly, credit to TSM for fighting a fight that would have led to an enemy soul if they lost.
And TSM played that out really, really well. You know, I'm sure we'll get a replay, but tactical spell shields the ult from Danny. Everyone else from TSM splits and actually steps to the side. So no one is actually seized up by Danny's ult. Then Danny, who had been forced out to flash, you know, early on, is caught by that never move from Maple. And it was this really nice kind of played out fight from them. This ward to the side should have spotted them into the pit. So EG trying to start up a sneaky Baron here, but TSM should be well aware.
Yeah, but they don't have any wards for the actual approach. So you see Maple dropping his W there, trying to
EG
face
knows
check.
now. The ward died.
Yeah, so they saw the ward die. They know that they're on the Baron, but TSM are slowly contesting. It's not a very fast Baron on the side of EG.
No, but they do get the teleport out of Solo, who's coming in to join up. Sion ulti makes its way forward, but Vulcan's the only one tanking it up. Sejuani ulti goes wide. There will be no connect from that. Jojo's here on the front. He's getting taken down a little bit, but they got to be careful because Spica's already gone. Now Solo could be next. A shield recharges,
Vulcan's
but
flanking.
TSM's falling back. Vulcan's coming around from the side. He wants the angle. He wants to stop the TSM retreat. Maple has no ulti. He's just an old man who likes birds, and he's gone. Danny picks it up.
Oh, we're into the pause.
Well, at least
Time's up. Let's do this.
let's do this.
Baron's about to get Leroy Jenkins right now by EG. After that team fight, catch people up. Maple and Spica drop. Easy Baron now, 4K up, feeling pretty good for EG.
Yeah.
Pretty good. This is feeling fantastic. This has got to be the best they've felt all day with this current state of the game. You're on that soul point now. In 3 minutes, you'll be able to pick that one up, and now you've got the Baron up until that point.
And I think it's actually really good for EG to be able to win with multiple styles of comps, right? You know, we heard the folks on the desk talking about, you know, are they kind of maybe losing faith in playing the marksman style? You know, are they not as confident? Do they just want to do something different? You know, I think it's really cool to be able to bring out this Seraphine because we know that Danny can play that style. We know that they can put, you know, all eggs in the Danny basket. This does increase your flexibility and reduce how predictable you are in draft. And they're just showing this is a really strong comp.
Yeah, I think the fact that you don't need to do that means that if you throw a lot of Sivir, Zeri, Jinx, bans, Seraphine's in your back pocket, whatnot. I understand the idea as well that EG are obviously struggling a little bit more in this series than people anticipated, but I think that just more speaks to TSM, for me at least, being this team that has been hard to quantify how good they would be because they've changed players even in playoffs. And so now you're seeing, like we talked about, this team with actually a lot of experience, a lot of players who have made the world stage before, probably being much better than their 7th seed look.
Well, Solo's going in, drops the Sion ulti. Jojo has activated Dominus, but he hasn't found an angle into the fight just yet. Finds the stun into Spica. Impact coming around from behind.
Huge
Big Seraphine ulti hits 3, and that's the kill onto Solo. But there's one back onto Jojo. It'll be 1-for-1 here at the start. Solo still causing havoc with that passive as the GA is lost on Impact, and Evil Geniuses are still trying to fight back. But Maple's ulti has not run out this time. They'll pull Danny back in, and Tactical will take Danny back out.
TSM say Baron be damned. We're going to win this fight. They go in initially. Solo pops, but he gets up and makes it so hard for the rest of EG to run forward. They kill Jojo right away, and then Impact is stranded on the back end of that fight.
And if you can't actually kite out the Swain ult, it is so difficult to actually deal with this composition. He does have the Rylai's completed. It's very easy for him to stay on top of someone to keep that perma ulti up here. And as soon as you lose one of your core DPS members, as soon as you lose Jojo or Impact, you really just don't have enough damage to actually punch through that Swain any longer. So the initial part of the fight does go very well here. You know, Inspired, chain interrupting these Qs, kind of locking down the Sion. They are able to burst him out. Jojo again playing bodyguard. Then from the top of your screen, you will see Impact coming in as the charm does connect on everybody. You're starting to think, hey, they could turn this around. But Maple had not even popped his ulti, so as Jojo tries to get chased in there, Maple's just staying right in on top of you.
The fact that also Tactical still had cleanse at the back end of the previous fight, it's actually pretty recently in terms of game time. I think they might have lost track of the fact that that summoner was up. It meant that they couldn't actually just run into this Sivir, who has actually picked up IE now.
Live again, though.
Yeah. Oh boy, it just never ends now, and I'm loving it. TSM going after another fight. Maple's here on the front line. He's going to be taking a lot of damage, but the man ain't dead yet. Tactical could be in a bad spot here, using the stopwatch, but it's not enough. Jojo gets the kill. Maple's trying to get away. EG piles on. It's disaster for TSM. Solo's going to get chased down as Jojo keeps going after the enemy jungler. Spica should be able to get himself and Chime out, but Solo is going to take a little while longer before he dies.
He's going to go down, though, and that is Soul available here for EG. Spica will stay around. He has to. He knows this could very well be the game, but Inspired's going to be hunting. He's going to be looking for him. Do they have any sort of eyes on him? They have no vision on him just yet, and no ward over the wall.
There it is.
Now they're dropping the ward over the wall, so they will have an idea when he comes in. I think he's just going to give it up. He's going for the red buff for now, and no idea when it's going to get finished up. So EG will claim Soul. A massive team fight win for them there.
Oh, and they might just not be done yet. Spica was not able to recall. Inspired is the one waiting there. Lands the stun with the E. Jojo's ready to follow up. Spica, that ends up being a very poor death, as now it's desynced from everybody else. So that's going to be another 40 seconds where TSM doesn't have all 5 men on the map.
Greed by Spica to pick up that red buff, just wanting to get some sort of consolation prize. And that team fight went wrong because Tactical did not have a clean entry point into the fight. He was kind of in the flank, and it was no way to start hitting anyone. So he just decided to commit onto Danny and try and kill him. And right away, the CC came in, Danny landed the ult, and then immediately EG kind of recognized that and dogpiled on top of him.
It's very difficult to fight into these corridors against Seraphine. You know, when you're funneling into this sort of area against EG, it gets really, really, really tough. And the ult was popped very early here from Swain. You called it. Tactical trying to close the gap there, but it's the Q, the knock up there from Sejuani that actually layers into the charm from Danny. So Tactical not having an opportunity to actually spell shield that. Then with Renekton and Aatrox on top of you, you are going down in a hurry, and Maple gets burst down here as well. Again, another stun, I think, over the wall there from Inspired, because Maple couldn't even get his Zonius off. He had one completed, but Inspired's Q's there on the Sejuani. Fight changing. I think if he doesn't stun Tactical spell shields Danny's ult, it looks very different. And again, if he doesn't stun Maple, I think Maple gets his Zonias off, and we could be looking at a completely different game.
6-1 and 8, Sejuani, unfortunately in a pause, but looking more like the...
Here with the Sivir to really hold on.
As you see, EG finishing off a push on the bot side of the map. Baron has fallen off. You see pings going down on that as the next objective coming up in about a minute here. So EG gonna try and get their battle line set up. TSM gonna need to find a way in.
Okay, we're back in. 6,500 gold lead. Drake's Soul. Baron's gonna spawn here in a minute. Elder Dragon's gonna be up just shy of 5 minutes. Evil Geniuses, however, are at that point in the game. You were talking about it before the break. The fact that you can't really siege when you're all melee. Every single tier 2 turret is off the map. All that's left is the base, and those walls are hard to fight up against.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why it's going to be, again, about the engages, about the fights here. If they can get one more major team fight win, you know, this late in, maybe you can try to push that into a victory.
Critically, Tactical just finished off his LDR, a huge power spike for him against how beefy EG's team comp is. Does give them the option, if they can kite it out. Does feel like it's 100% on Tactical and the front line of him to protect him.
TSM get everybody out, and we've got, there's a loud noise in the background, ignore that. As we have Evil Geniuses pushing up a little bit further. Eyes on Tactical. Everybody from both teams' eyes are on Tactical.
Yeah, and look at EG. They're trying to set up multiple flanking angles, but TSM are marking them. Maple up here on the top side is actually marking Impact. On the bot side, Solo is marking Inspired. They know what the plan is here. Impact gonna take a lot of damage from Tactical.
Yeah.
Oh, the ulti is forced. That's actually so big now.
They're going.
They can try to force again.
Here comes Solo. He finds his way in, but he only finds Vulcan. Evil Geniuses. Impact's not going to have an ulti for this. He loses World Ender right as the fight really starts breaking out. And that's Maple's signal to go in with the green light. Impact the target as Tactical piles on the damage, and they're gonna get the resurrection
Swain expires.
out of the EG top laner. Maple no longer has his ulti, and we're gonna trade 1-for-1. Spica is down. Impact is down.
This is actually critical, though, because no jungler alive means TSM can't really go to the Baron here. Inspired with the Warmog's going to heal right back up. Solo as well, so both getting actually a lot of value in this instance. But as soon as that Swain ulti drops, EG have the ability to move forward once more.
Swain ult halfway off cooldown. Does feel like TSM are going to be in a holding pattern until they can get that back up. Sion ult coming back up as well. Most of these ults feel like they're going to be there in time.
They're just going to push, though. They're not going to give them the time. They know there's no jungler, there's no Swain ult, so they're trying to force a fight immediately.
Evil geniuses forcing TSM to come and answer. Inspired with a smite. Spica's not back on the map for another 5 seconds, and he still has to make his way down here even after he respawns. Solo frontlining. TSM will force him back. The Sion to lead the way, the Sivir to follow it up with the damage. It's enough to scare him out.
It looks like a failed combo there as well from Vulcan.
Oh, let's do it again. Back into the game, back into the Rift, back into the Baron. Evil geniuses, they're moving up. They gotta stop TSM. Inspire to lead the way. Clearing out some control wards here.
They need vision.
All right, Solo's ready to go in. You don't need a ward when you got a Sion. Spica gonna lose half HP. TSM backing up a little bit as EG piled forward. Maple's doing a great job zoning everybody away, but the pressure is there. Inspired is there. Tactical is gone. Maple is gone. Spica is gone. TSM is gone.
Inspired takes over the fight. He kills the backline off by himself, and EG are gonna TP in for the win.
Evil geniuses don't need the Baron now. They're going straight for the Nexus.
9-1 in 10 Inspired chain CC combos Tactical to death with the Anathema's chain and gives Evil Geniuses their first win in the series.
That is huge for EG. We were talking about where the game might go. It was a good call from TSM, but the team fighting team fights right. EG ties it up.
I actually can't believe that ended that fight. That Sejuani just absolutely taking him down. Man, the players are actually all chatting back and forth. So much banter back and forth, and a little bit of heat maybe in some of those players. Frustrations coming through. Inspired with the all chat. Seju deals damage.
Tactical with the classic balanced.
That's
stolen out by the enemy jungler. But yeah, EG bounced back. Absolutely needed for this series because it felt like this game easily could have gone TSM's way.
It really could have. And honestly, I thought that fight was 100% going TSM's way. When they weren't actually able to get through and initially kill off the Sivir, Jojo goes into a stopwatch at like 5% HP. The only person up there was still the Sejuani. I didn't think there was any shot that he was going to be the one to actually finish off this Sivir. Was able to do it himself, survives, kills off the Wukong as well, all while on very, very low HP. And it was just a massive difference maker there at the end of that fight.
There's regular season Inspired. There's the guy people have been wanting to see more of. 9-1 and 10 on Sejuani.
9-1 and 10, absolute beast performance. But from here, this was a crazy game, not just in terms of what was happening on it, but obviously all the outside factors. It's a lot right now, I think, on coaching staff to settle everyone down, get them refocused on the series, make the adaptations you need to make, but obviously just like mentally make sure everyone's still in it, because obviously all chat at the end of a series, you usually don't see something like that. So obviously the players are going to be feeling a little bit like higher energy, a little frustrated probably. I
mean, for sure, right? You know, they obviously will be frustrated in a situation like that. It's really hard to stay calm, to stay focused on exactly what needs to happen in the game. And that's also where, you know, those kind of in-game leaders can really make a difference, because the coach can't get up there and tell them, hey guys, focus up. These are the things we need to remember. Having a player in your team that can do that is invaluable.
Absolutely. And with the series all tied up now, let's head on back over to the State Farm